Hi everyone, this is Anna. I am rapid transformational therapist, and today I'm here with one of my amazing clients, Debbie. Thank you very much for being here. And I decided to do this interview because we had a hypnotherapy session together a few months ago in regards to stress. And I want to build that awareness around hypnotherapy because still a lot of people are not considering that because they're afraid. What's happening in hypnosis? Are you in control of your mind? How does it feel to be hypnotized? And I know you had similar feelings. How would that be? So yeah, just tell me at the beginning, what was happening in your life that you decided to try hypnotherapy, and what did you know about hypnotherapy?
Yeah, so I think in my life I have a very fast-paced career, lots of stresses that I'm sure many people can resonate with. I'm also one of those people that likes to be always on the go. I like to be achieving like all the recipe for someone who might experience stress. And then sort of on top of that, obviously we had coronavirus and lockdown, which is probably the greatest stressor that we could never have imagined. So I think it was a time when everything was coming together and I could really feel a sense that the stress was building and that I should be doing something about it. In terms of knowing about hypnotherapy, I'd never experienced anything myself. My boyfriend had said that he'd been hypnotized by his mum when he was younger to help him not be car sick. So he really said that it worked for him and said it was absolutely worked wonders, and he couldn't speak more highly of it if he tried. So when I said that I was thinking about trying some hypnotherapy, he was like, yeah, worked for me, might work for you too. So a good recommendation.
You were curious and excited to try it. You were not afraid.
No, I'm definitely, really curious. I think I'm quite a logical, like facts-based person. So I think I wanted to sort of see what it could do. I didn't think, I wondered if I'd maybe turn into, like a chicken or like start like,
yeah.
or like, all those things. Like I definitely was like, how is this exactly going to work? So I think, yeah, curious is a good way of putting it, wanting to understand what exactly was going to happen. But yeah, no, not afraid.
Yeah, I was talking with someone who hasn't been hypnotized before, and I've heard that a sentence, oh, I think you will be manipulating with my thoughts. And I thought this is such a bad word because I don't manipulate with people's minds. It's more about giving them suggestions and having normal discussion because you are in control of your mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were just talking about your past. So yeah, your session was in regards to stress because you live in London, and it's hard not to be stressed in London.
Yeah, yeah,
So
London's the capital of stress.
yeah. So tell me, how was that session for you? What happened in the session, and how did you go through that experience?
Yeah, so when we had the session, I remember you taking me through some guided meditation, trying to just, like you say, like guide my thoughts, but not, tell me what to think or change what I was thinking. I think for me, the experience felt, I'm going to say a bit like being drunk, if I'm honest, because like, I remember we spoke before and you were asking me questions to, think about where stress comes from. And I was using my like rational brain and I was trying to give you like intelligent answers, and ones that I was probably overthinking and ones that I thought sounded like they were the answer. But when we were doing the hypnotherapy, everything felt a lot more fluid. The thoughts that were coming to me were nothing like the thoughts I had given you previously when I was, sober, as it were. So yeah, being drunk is how it felt, like when things just come to you out of nowhere and you're just talking absolute rubbish, but you don't realize that you're actually going quite deep into how you're feeling, and it quite naturally comes out.
Is it because you can let go and just speak fluently how you actually feel without making impression or using your ego? I think one of my clients said it's like I could let go of my ego and just like be honest with yourself how you actually feel. Um,
Definitely, yeah. And I
yeah,
think that
we were not drunk for sure.
no, we weren't drinking, no. But I think you're right, like with the ego as well. Like when you asked me the questions prior to the session, I do think the ego was getting in the way, maybe even unintentionally, but I wanted to give you, like, like I was saying, the right answer.
Rational answer.
Yeah, I wanted it to make sense. But when we did the session, what surprised me the most was you would ask me a question and the answer I would give, sometimes I didn't even know why I was saying it. Like, I'm sure you knew why I was saying it. And,
Yeah,
you got to the bottom of what I was trying to get at. But
yeah,
that response, I probably would have stopped myself from saying, because I'd have been like, what has that got to do with what on earth? Anna has just asked me, like, nothing.
yeah.
But in the session, I wasn't behaving in that way. If you asked me a question and my answer was something that appeared to be a complete tangent, I would still say it. And it actually turned out that it was really the answer.
Yeah, and you were surprised with result because what you thought before the session was something different to what we discover, because you're using two different parts of the brain and your subconscious mind says something different. So, um, how was the result for you? How did you feel at the end?
I felt a lot lighter, a lot calmer. I listened to the guided meditation that you gave me a lot. And I think that I learned to, I think the best way I can describe it is, previously, like, I had all the stresses over here and this is me, and they were like this. And then once you took me through the session and gave me the meditation to listen to, I felt like they were more like this. So it isn't that I didn't have stress and that it isn't there. It's just that I realized it's not me. It's not completely intertwined with me, and I can distance myself from it. So I think that, yeah, it was a fairly, like, it was a sensible conclusion. It wasn't like I suddenly went, I have no stress anymore. It was that
Yeah,
I could deal with it properly and I could distance myself from it, and it wasn't permeating every aspect of my life. It was manageable, and I could still feel that sense of calmness and detach myself from, a stressful work life and coronavirus. I could separate
yeah,
myself from that.
yeah. You can basically be in control. You can't avoid it,
Yeah,
but through understanding how you're creating it and how you're reacting, you can now react differently because you do understand that events don't affect you and you can't control the outside, but you can control the inside. So what you're saying here is that I am in charge of my life and I'm fine with it because I got this now. Yeah, amazing. So did you try anything before hypnotherapy to lower your stress? I know you're into yoga, meditation.
definitely. Yeah, I've tried. Obviously, yes, I am obsessed with yoga, so I have tried that lots. That's really helpful. I think that probably the effects of yoga were what I was kind of looking for. So when I go to a class, I can go to the yoga class. I could have had anything going on in my life, and I go into the class and I forget everything and I feel much calmer. And when I come out, you have that, like, yoga high where you're, like, completely separated from your stresses and you're feeling blissful and relaxed. And that temporary feeling was what I wished I could cultivate, without having to come to the mat, and be able to find that within myself. So yeah, I definitely tried yoga and knew that all the mindfulness techniques within that were helpful. But I think what you offered was probably something a bit more, because it's great to go to yoga and do that, but what I was looking for was the ability to do that myself without having to go through a practice and things like that beforehand.
Yeah, and it was quite fast. What's
Yes. Yeah.
fascinating about RTT is that is literally an hour and a half and you're like, oh, I got solution.
Yeah.
That's what I'm impressed with when I try hypnotherapy first time. So what would you say to people who are having issues, like they are stressed, they are overwhelmed, but they are procrastinating? That's another issue they have, because they're afraid of hypnotherapy, or even loads of English people, they're afraid of therapy, because they're either ashamed of trying it, or it's bad thing, it's better to hide it that I need it. They're afraid to reach out for help. what would you say to those people who are like hesitating? Oh, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to meditate a little bit and I'll be fine. But you know that in fact, you're not in total control of it.
Yeah, I think I would say if you're even slightly considering it or noticing that you have something that you would like dealing with, you know, there's no point in putting it off. And if not now, then when, really? And I think that it's easy to put these things off and think that you can do them another time. But I honestly have had such a huge change from doing the therapy with you that I almost would have considered it, you know, what was I doing beforehand? Why did I do it sooner? So
I'm so
I
happy
think,
to hear that.
yeah, I don't really know why you wouldn't, if I'm honest. And I think you're right, maybe it is to do with people being like, it's a taboo subject, but like I'd like to think that that's changing a bit. Like lots of, you know, like my friends and the groups that I move within, like I think people are really open about mental health. And you know, like I think as well, like it doesn't even have to be like a huge thing that you're dealing with. It could be anything, you know, small. Like it could be stress with like a lowercase s, you know, anxiety with a small a. Like it doesn't have to be like anything huge and like momentous that you're battling with. So but it could be as well. So I think therapy's got that whole range of like people that it can help. So even if you have like a small part of your life that you wish you were better at dealing with, or even a large part, I think it's got a role to play in however anyone's feeling. So I can't really imagine why anyone wouldn't want to give it a go, really, because no one's perfect. Everyone's got things they wish they could change and fix. And what are you doing if you're not doing that?
If you're not fixing it?
Yeah,
That's
what
the
are you doing?
thing. I talk about it a lot because we are still in this uncertainty. What's going to happen with the world? Are we going back to lockdown? And people are getting more stressed, more anxious, but they're not thinking about fixing their head. It's like, let's control the outside. And we both know now it's really hard to control the outside because your conscious mind and your ego is on the way. And like you said, when you're in hypnosis, you are given totally different perspective. That's how your mind works. So what was the best thing about your session? If you could pick one good memory, apart from the fact that the internet broke. I remember.
Yeah, that was not my finest.
That was not the best, but we still get you back there, and that was amazing. That you were still back there. Things happen, but you didn't suffer because we were online.
No, definitely not. I mean, everything's look, I do so much online now. I'm quite used to it. Yeah, I think let me think. The best thing. I think that for me it was the fact that you gave me the recording after, and I was able to quite easily return myself to that space. So I think that what I really noticed was that when I put the recording on and listened to it again, it was like straight away I could imagine myself, like you took me through that guided meditation, and I could go straight back to that place and, you know, feel that familiarity with the sense of calmness and peace that I gained from the session with you. So I think the best thing for me is, that you essentially created a space that with a few words I can just get back to, and that's quite nice to have that home to return to. So it was, you know, rapid, like you say, like the therapy didn't take hugely long. It was one session that we did, but I can still return to that place whenever I need to, and that's really valuable for me.
So how is life now with less stress and you controlling everything?
Yeah, I think it's much better. It's definitely less stressful. I think whenever I do experience stress, I am a bit more like, oh, that's stress, that's over there, like it exists, but it doesn't have to, you know, tangle itself up in me. I think perspective is a nice thing to think about. I definitely think that I've gained perspective on what stress is. You know, like if it's you can turn away from it, not avoid it, but it doesn't have to be with you all the time and consume you. And I think, I've definitely tried to be a bit more positive in my outlook, and I've enrolled in my 200 hours yoga teacher training, which is something that I had put off and always wanted to do, and was like, oh no, like so busy, stressed, blah, blah, so much going on. But now I'm like, no, I'm gonna go do my training.
That's because you're not stressed.
Yeah.
You're in charge of your life now, and you're in charge of your emotions. So yeah, that's amazing, because one session gave you that understanding how to be in control of your emotions, and I taught you basically how to deal with that stuff moving forward, because you don't have to come back for more sessions. You can just deal with it on your own now. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's all I really wanted to hear, that life has changed. One session was effective. It's good for stress. It's good for Londoners, and it's good to do it now when times are uncertain.
Yeah, it should be compulsory for Londoners. You shouldn't be able to live here without it.
It is. London is hectic.
Yeah, when you move in, they should post it through your door. Like, have you thought of this? That's what they should do. Along with your council tax and everything else, it should be set up when you move here, I think.
Yeah, I hope we would just encourage Londoners to book a session and lower their stress level and learn how to use their mind so they can control everything and just feel calmer. Thank you so much, Debbie, for your time. You're amazing, and I wish you the best with your yoga.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, darling.